Welcome, everyone. Welcome again. Welcome. So let's get started. What are core values? What are your core values? Really? I know we all have something that we use to define us. Yes, but before we go into that, I'm going to share a little bit about what core values are and what they are not. Okay, so let's take a look into what core values are in the first place. What are your values? What do you use to define yourselves? I want us to just think about it for 1 minute. No, sorry, 30 seconds. What are my values? Close your eyes, close your eyes, and just think about your top 5 values. Okay, there we go. So, values are simply our fundamental beliefs, beliefs that guide us, that motivate our actions, and that, you know, direct our attitudes in general. It's as simple as that. It's like your guiding principle, your personal guiding principle. Is like a torch that directs you every single day. Our values are at our core. They are who we are from the inside. So values describe our personalities. It describes our qualities. They describe how we choose to embody our attitude. Who we want to be is defined by our values. The manner in which we treat ourselves and others is defined by our values. And our interaction with the world around us is also defined by our values. In short, values, they help us determine what is important to us and what is not important. They're just those guidelines, those guiding principles that we use every single day to determine our course of action, to determine how you're going to react to a particular situation or circumstance. They determine also how we think. And I've come to realize that our values also drive our purpose and our vision in life. So our values are really cool. Our values are also important when it comes to goal setting. So they're really at the root of who we are. And most of the time, when we define values, sometimes we confuse them with morals. We confuse them with morals. What's the difference really between values and morals? Because they are two different things. They are related, yes, but they are different. A moral is a system of belief that is taught us and used to decide what is good or bad. That's a moral. It's a system of beliefs that we learn, all right? We learn it as we grow up, and we use it to decide what is good or what is bad. And sometimes the moral system is tied, it's attached to our society, is attached to our family background, is attached to our environment. Whereas our values are personal beliefs, things that, okay, no one really told you about it, but you know it's important. It comes from inside of you. It's that inner compass that tells you that this is good, this is bad, this is what I can tolerate, and this is what I cannot tolerate. So I could say that while morals are external, values are internal. So morals are from the outside in, values are from the inside out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, great. So One big difference between moral claims and values is what's distinctive. The moral claims are normative and purely descriptive. They are normative and purely descriptive. They talk about actions, mostly actions. Okay, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Let me give an example. When I was growing up, my parents taught us, don't beg from the neighbors. It is bad. All right. That's don't go to the neighbors and ask for things. It's not good. That's not good. It's bad. Don't visit someone without calling them in advance. So I grew up with that. And in my definition of good and bad, those things are there. Okay. So I will not pop up at the neighbor's house and ask for stuff just like that. But these are things that I had to come to terms with because that defined me in a way. It was difficult for me growing up and up to a really later stage. I'm not so old really, but up to a few years ago, it was so difficult for me to ask for help. And it's because of things like that growing up, I was taught, okay, look within, don't ask, don't go because it can be perceived as begging and all that. So that defines it. So that's a moral claim, right? But asking for help is not a bad thing. Sometimes asking help from the neighbors is not a bad thing. It makes us human, right? So I got to learn that later on. On the other hand, values are standards that we use to judge right or wrong, good or bad, just or unjust. That's personally. It's not what I have been told, but it's what I know from inside of me that, okay, I will not do this. One of my values is trustworthiness. So I go out of my way to build trust with others, to make myself trustworthy because I value trust. I like being trusted and I like trusting others. I know from deep within that it makes my life better. It makes my life easier when I can trust others and when others can trust me. Okay, so my word is my bond. And I just, I love it when people understand that my word is my bond, that when I say something, I will do it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel fulfilled. Okay, so that's my value. Okay. Interestingly, morals have more social value and acceptance than values. Interestingly, the society places more importance on morals than values. And I think that's why this webinar is so important. So we get to understand exactly what values are and how important it is. Because I believe that a person should not be judged. A person, like in the society, we are judged more for our moral character than our values. That's we're judged from the surface. Okay, people are judged by their actions, what they've done. That's what the society judges them. Society will not go and find out why they did that. Sometimes it takes a lot to start going to find out. So our values, they are like magnets, the magnets in a compass. No, if you've ever seen a compass, the compass has a magnet inbuilt that directs the hand, where to point. All right. So our values are like that magnet that directs, the hand of the compass. Okay, where to show, where to point so that we can move in that direction. Now, that's the difference between morals and values. Okay, I'll take questions at the end. Okay. Now, how do we identify these values? How do we identify our values? Because what we cannot, we need to define something, we need to understand it. So, how do we define our values? How do we really know them? Knowing your values will help you answer questions such as, what career or business should I pursue? What kind of people do I want to serve? Like, in what I do, my values help me to define who I want to work with. When I look at someone, one of my values that I look at is commitment. I love working with people who are committed. So if I see that someone is not committed, or someone is not ready to commit to an engagement, I won't work with that person because we're not going to be a good match. Okay, so it helps me in my profession, it helps me in what I do, in identifying who I want to work with. Okay, if you're working, you're employed somewhere, your values can also help you to determine whether to accept a promotion or not. Okay, I remember one movie I watched. I don't know if someone here has watched the movie Courageous. And in that movie, this guy, Jose, was working. In fact, he looked for a job and then God miraculously connected him with a police officer who helped him to get started. And then the police officer connected him with someone to work in a factory. So he started working in that factory. And one day he was offered a promotion. And this job was like, it was like taking someone from factory worker to supervisor, and he was so happy. But they tested him. They asked him, okay, this is what I want you to do. The manager said, this is what I want you to do. You're going to receive this shipment, and this shipment is going to contain, let me just say, 100 pieces, right? So I would love you to write that the shipment contains 110 pieces, because that's how I love working with people. So if you agree that this is how we're going to work together as a manager, as a supervisor, this is what you're going to do. If you agree, then the job is yours. But don't make a decision right now. Go home and think about it. So he went home, he thought about it, he told his wife, and his wife was like, who said, this is our dream job, this is our opportunity. I think you should think about it. He's the owner of the company. If he's telling you to do it like this, he has his reasons. But Jose knew that this is not who he is. That's not his values, So I don't see, now you get I don't know if you're getting the picture, because morally, if the owner of a company is telling you that this is what I want you to do, that's how I run my business, right? That should be okay for you to say, okay, you're the boss. This is how you run your business. So, wow, just okay, no problem. It's a promotion and I'm going to get a raise. So no problem. Let's work together. But Jose went back the next day and told the man that, look, sir, I'm very sorry. I cannot take this job because I can't do what you're asking me to do. And the guy asked him why. He said, it's against my values, it's against my faith, it's against who I am. and I won't be able to live with myself if I take that job. So I'm sorry, I'll have to leave your company. And the guy said, Jose, congratulations, you're the man for the job. I was looking for someone with integrity like you, and I'm so glad that I found you. Would you take this job? So he got the job, he got that promotion. Why? Because he stood by his values and not the moral standard. Your values can also guide you on what business to do. Should I start my own business? Should you start this business or not? So your values will guide you, and your values will also direct you what to compromise and what not to compromise. Will help you to be firm with your position. Your values will also determine if you should follow tradition or travel down a new path. Hmm. That one is so important because this is the way things have been done. You know that this is the way things have been done. Everybody has done it in this particular way, but it doesn't agree with you. It's not in line with who you are, your core values. You just cannot compromise it. So you decide to take another path. And I think that is one important thing because our values most often will lead us to the road less traveled. The road less traveled. Okay. Defining our values, one thing we should keep in mind, one thing we need to keep in mind, one thing I keep in mind when I'm defining my core values is that everybody is different. What makes one person happy may leave another person feeling anxious or disengaged. Everybody is different. Well, we all have our unique personalities, and our personalities also affect the way we see the world, the way we see ourselves, the way we relate with others, and the way we relate with ourselves. So defining your personal values is really the first step to living them. So we have to first define them first before we can live them. And once you've done that, it leaves you feeling more fulfilled and ready to make the choices that will make you happy. I don't know about you, but when I'm faced with two with a situation where I need to make a choice, I need to choose between two options, and I make the choice that is in line with my values, I feel so fulfilled. I feel like I've achieved something. I feel actualized, and I feel happy with myself that, oh, it was a difficult situation, but I was able to make the right choice. And that's what happens with me. When I make a choice based on my values, to me, it's always the right choice. So defining your personal values is very important because you discover truly what is important to you. What's important to Ade, what's important to Choma, what's important to Angel. Now, let's go step by step, right? And define those personal values. Let's take it one step at a time. I know you already have an idea, and I'm sure that as I'm talking, there are some things that you know that this is Angel. These are my values, and I can't compromise on this particular thing. But let's look at them step by step. Step one, I want you to think of a time when you were most happy, maybe in your career, in your personal life, in your business, and then answer these questions. If you're writing, if you have a notepad, I'd love you to write down the questions and answer them. So when you think of that time when you were so happy, what were you doing? Who were you with? And what contributed to your happiness at that time? What were you doing? A happy moment in your life, maybe in your business, in your career, or in your personal life. What were you doing at that time? Who were you with? And what factors contributed to your happiness at that time? I want you to take down these questions. It's going to help you to define it. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write the answer. You can ask if you have a question or you need clarification about it, you can ask. Okay.
One thing that I always felt that I could improve upon.
Yes?
When I heard about balance in ancient, it sounded interesting.
Okay. All right, so let's go. Step 2. I would like you to think of a time when you felt most proud. Think of a time when you felt most proud. Same thing, maybe in your career, your business, or your personal life. Then answer these questions. Why were you proud? What made you proud? What made you proud? Think of a time when you felt most proud. Maybe this has to be a time in the past. We're looking at the past right now. So what made you proud? Did other people, those around you, did others share your pride? Who did? Did others share your pride? Who shared your pride? Okay. And what factors contributed to that feeling? What factors contributed to that feeling? So think of a time in your career, business, or personal life when you felt most proud, and then answer this. What made you proud? Did other people share in your pride, in your pride at that time? And who shared, who did? Then what factors contributed to you feeling this way? Just stay with me. I would like you to stay with me. Let's write this. Let's think about this. I'll give you 2 minutes. Think over this, write it down. Okay. Now, step 3, think of a time when you felt fulfilled. Think of a time when you felt fulfilled in your personal life, your career, your business, and answer these questions. What need or desire? What need or desire was fulfilled at that time? Number 2, why was that important to you? Why was that important to you? And 3, what factors contributed to your feelings of fulfillment, to your feeling of fulfillment? So I'll give you a few minutes. So what need or desire was fulfilled? Why was that important to you? And what factors contributed to your feelings of fulfillment? Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes to write this down. Right. So based on this, your experience of happiness, your experience of pride, your experience of fulfillment, we can determine your values. Okay. You can use that experience to determine your values. Because most often we need to go within. And the only way we can go within is to ask these questions, ask ourselves some questions, really dig deep and answer the questions. Yes, and it's not just asking the questions, but answering these questions and looking at our answers critically, and that's where the work of a coach comes in. The coach helps you, to answer these questions. As a coach, I'll put you in a position where you have no other choice, no other option but to answer these questions. And then once you get used to being asked these questions and answering the questions, you can coach yourself. That's one of the greatest benefits of coaching. It's only for a time. And by the time you're done with the coaching period, you already know how to, coach yourself into or out of certain situations. Okay, so that's very important. So most people, when they work with a coach, they learn how to coach. So look at those questions very well. I'm going to send you a list because sometimes I've noticed that I will post, I'll share it with you, a list of, some examples of values that you can use. But I know that from the answers to these questions, you already know, okay, what gave me fulfillment at that time? What really happened at that time that brought me fulfillment? What happened that made me proud? And what happened that made me so happy? And I will also add another question. This has helped me a lot in the past. So I want you to take note of this. When you think of a time that you were frustrated, okay, a time in your life, your personal life or your business or your career that you were frustrated, ask yourself, what need or desire did I have that was not met? What need or desire was not met? And why was that important to me? Then you ask yourself the third question, what other factors contributed to your feelings of frustration? Okay, so You ask yourself these questions: experiences of happiness, experiences of pride, experiences of fulfillment, and experiences of frustration. And then we all put it together. If you're honest and if you take the time to do this work, and this is something that I would really love for you to do after this session, you can take about 30 minutes to an hour and go through this. You will discover a pattern. A pattern will emerge. Okay. But I'm going to send you a list of values that you can look at. You can go to, maybe I'll post it in the chat after the session so we can see. Okay, so that's what will help us to define our values. But I know that already you know. Okay. Now, once you have written down a list and write down, once you've done that, write down a list of your top 10 values. Yeah, I'd like you to do that right now. What you can think of on the go. Your top 10 values, what are they? Because I want you to prioritize them. So what are your top 10 values? 2 minutes. I'm counting. 2 minutes. Your top 10 values. As your personal values, not your organizational values, but what's important to you personally. All right, thank you. So who has their top 10 values? Let me know. You can unmute yourself and tell me. You have your top 10 values. You can raise your hand or unmute yourself and share. You just tell me I have my top 10 values.
Sleep at night and I wake up. What if it's not up to 10?
For a limited time.
Okay, what if it's not up to 10? How many do you have?
Well, I can't really say because, well, I don't want to say how many I have because I think, so this is my own view that like when you ask, proud moment, I wanted to ask like, what's the difference between proud, fulfilled, and happy? Because for me, like proud moments, fulfilled moments, for me, if I just look back, we're like personal moments, with when maybe like my son achieves something or he wows me, and I'm so proud. I can't believe we did this. And to me, I see like, and I give myself a pat on the back, like, oh, Ade, you're doing so well, because I feel like I see the fruit of my work in how my son is been handling some things and all of that. So right. For me, that's how I'm proud, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled. Right. When I go to the teachers meeting and they say something, okay, like today, it was my son was, like we were doing online school, and he was answering a question, and when he was answering that question, I was wowed in my head. I was beaming with pride. And even the teacher cannot see me anything, But even the teacher was like, wow, I am so proud and amazed at how you answered the question. What you have done is textual, and is this, is that. Eventually, I have to tell, and at the end, I was like, okay. Then my son kept talking. I was like, don't talk. The Nigerian in me, like, too much. Oh yeah, it's okay. Don't talk again. Don't keep quiet. Let others have a chance. And then I said I was proud. I said, but then he kept going, and I said, hey, this is not too much. Keep quiet. So the Nigerian in me just for 1 second there. Keep quiet. It's okay. Keep quiet.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I love that. I love that, Ade.
And then my son looked at me like, Mom, I said, well, just maybe someone else wants to try. Let's hear their own opinion. But just for that split second.
Yeah.
Then my son looked at me like, Mommy, why? And I said, no, I'm sorry, just maybe someone else wants to try. Let's hear them out so that you're not the only one.
Good. So, good. Thank you so much for sharing, Ade. And two things have come out from what I've seen. I'm seeing a value and I'm seeing a moral in what you've shared. Okay. Now, in what you've said, I see you value good parenting. You probably research or check, or maybe you probably, have this, you learn, that's an area that you probably research on, that you check, you want to grow in, you want to be a good parent. So good
parenting. Yes. Is at the forefront of my mind that I want to be a good parent, and I want a different outcome, a more better outcome than I had with my parents and son. Yeah. So for me, it's been at the forefront of my mind. Like I want to be the best parent that I can.
Awesome. So good parenting is a value, and then there's a moral that came out. The Nigerian in you say, you've talked too much. Let other people talk. So that's a moral,
Yes. Yes.
So that's how we can see the difference between a moral standard and a value. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing, Ade. So that's one of your values that I've seen, good parenting. It's important to you. It makes you happy, makes you fulfill. Yeah. Angel is raising her hand. Yeah, Angel.
Okay, I've got my 10 values.
Good.
Yes, and my number one value is love.
All right.
I love to show love to people. I want people around me, people who connect with me, to feel love, to experience love, because I believe that love makes a difference in the world, and love will make the world a better place. So I love love. Not just love between couples, but love to everyone that connects with you. And my second value is kindness. I love to show kindness to people. I love to be kind. I believe people should be kind to one another, irrespective of who the person is. You should be kind. It's not about class. It's not about societal status, but you should be kind. So for me, kindness means a lot to me. When I see someone who is kind, it draws me to that person because it's one of my values. I love to give. Giving is another value. I love to give, not just money. I love to give my time. I love to support other women doing what I'm doing and all of that. So it's not just about money, but my time and women around me, giving them what moral support that they need to become all that they've been called to be. I also believe so much in service delivery. Oh my goodness. Like you walk into a and the person in the front desk smiles, attends to you beautifully, I love it. It's for me, I used to have this slogan that says, I can't remember it right now, but it has to do with service delivery, that your service delivery will retain your business, or it will also go bring your business down. So I believe so much in customer service.
Yeah.
Then friendly. I'm a very friendly person. I love to be friendly with people. I don't need to know who you are. I don't need to know where you're coming from, but I love to accommodate people, to allow everybody to be comfortable in their own skin, in spite of who they are, where they're coming from. I'm a very peaceful person. I believe so much in peace. I don't know how to strive. I don't know how to quarrel. Instead of for us to fight about it, I will gently leave it for you. Not because I can't fight you, but I believe so much in peace and tranquility. Because when I don't have peace, when I have things that are upsetting me, I'm not able to balance, I'm not able to focus, I'm not able to move to the next thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. So I believe so much in peace. So I try to, as much as possible, just like the Bible says, as much as you can, to be at peace with all men. So that's me. That's one of my values.
Awesome.
Canceling. I love to cancel. I derive so much joy in that. In canceling people, especially when it comes to my area of specialty is marriage and relationship. I love canceling, especially the young ones, those who are single, who are yet to find. So I get excited when I have an opportunity or when I have a client, that is about getting married and the person is taking my counsel. I can, even if you don't pay me for it, I can talk and do all the things I need to do. Then helping others, I love to help people. The way the world is, it's always good that that you have this person that you can always pick up the phone and call that person and the person will appear. I'm that person.
Right.
I always love to help people. There's this satisfaction I get from it. You have an issue. Even if I don't have a solution to it, I will find someone who can help you.
Okay.
I will go out of, yes. Then the next one is networking. I love to network. I love to meet people. I love to connect. And the last is integrity. I believe so much in integrity. Your word is your bond, as in you're transparent. Your word is your bond. That's it. You say this, you do it. Mm-hmm. You say you can't do this. Yes, you can do it. So that's my 10 values. There are more, but this is my top 10.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Angelica. Yes, that's so good. Angel, so that's so good. So those are your top 10, and we all have this. In fact, if maybe you're not able to get up to 10 right now, but I'm sure if you go through all those questions and you really take time to think, you'll find out that you could come up with up to 20 or 30. All right. So, but what I would love you to do is just prioritize, look at the list you have and order them from 1 to 10 or 1 to the number that you have, but look at them and prioritize which one is your number 1, which one is your number 2, which one is your number 3, which one is more important.
Okay.
So Angel, I'm coming after you. I've seen
that. Okay. Okay, no problem.
And that's one thing. When we know our values, you find out that everything around your life resonates around it. Okay, around those values. Like, exactly. Let's say like Ade, good parenting. So everything about Ade will revolve around good parenting. I know that's just one. I know there are others, but you find out that a lot of things in your life will be determined, that value will determine them. Maybe where you work, you want to have time to spend with your kids, your family. In fact, that's important to you. So you always try to find things that are in aligning with that value, because that makes you feel fulfilled, it makes you feel happy, and it makes you feel proud. And if you don't have it, if things are not aligning, like your life is not aligning with that value, there'll be a lot of frustration. Okay, so
yes, you're right. But I also want to ask a question. I'm a person that places, I place a lot of value on integrity. Mm-hmm. So is integrity also morals? Is that stem from a place of moral as well? I don't know. Does it, like you were using someone, use the example about work. I'm also someone that I don't want to be, let me say, maybe shamed. Maybe that's the word to use. I don't know. The adjective to use. Like, if I have a commitment to you, I want to honor that commitment. I want to fulfill that commitment. I love integrity. I love to have people who have it, no matter what, no matter what your stand may be, but that you have integrity. I love that. So I want to know, like, is integrity morals, or there's a difference, or is it the same? Or I'm just using the words interchangeably.
Okay, thank you so much, Ade. That's a good question, really. You see, moral values, there are two sides of the same coin, actually. That's what I would say. There are two sides of the same coin. Okay, one is the head, one is the tail. One is external, one is internal. So it depends on how you look at it. Okay, now the moral will be the external definition of integrity. All right, what people generally know as integrity. Some people will say integrity is doing what you say you will do. All right. And to some people, once you have an excuse for not doing what you said you would do, it's okay. All right. It's okay. Something came up now. I wasn't able to meet up. I'm sorry. It's not like I didn't want to do it, you know. And that's okay by them. And society will normally accept that, okay, yes, something came up. He couldn't fulfill it. That's fine. All right. But value, it comes from inside of you. If you've given your word, you will climb the mountain and go through the valleys to fulfill that word. It will have to take something that will, you know, pin you down. And even if something is pinning you down, you're still going to try to find a way. Maybe you find somebody that can help you to fulfill that word. If you can't find somebody that will help you to fulfill that word, you will make sure that you let them know in advance that, oh, and the way you're going to apologize, the way you're going to, it's going to be different from someone that, okay, look. So it depends on how you look at it. All right. Like some of us, when we're growing up, our parents will tell us that, okay, look, let me just give this example. I really don't, but it's something external. If you lie, you're going to be beaten black and blue because you lied. Okay, now society knows, we all know that lying is bad. Okay, I'm trying to think of a good example, not because all the things I'm looking at is bad. So lying is bad. Okay, so that is a moral standard. Now, someone has the value of truth. So someone would, they have the value of truthfulness. It's not because they were told that lying is not good. All right. But inside of them is innate in them that, look, lying is bad. I'd rather die than to lie. And this one has nothing to do with religion or not, because that's the difference. So it depends on which side you're looking at it. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay. Right. Thanks. So let's see. Now we've prioritized our top 10. Okay, so let's see. How do we reaffirm them? Step 6. Once we prioritize our top 10, it's now time to reaffirm them so that it fits with our life and our vision for ourselves. And this is where it gets really good. When we start seeing our values in our vision, it gets really good. Okay, now, how do we do that? We ask ourselves these questions. Okay, do these values make me feel good about myself? I hope we're writing down the questions. Do these values make me feel good about myself? That's the question. Secondly, are you proud of your top 10 values? Are you proud of your top 10 values? Okay. Third one, will you be comfortable and proud to tell people you respect and admire what your values are? Because our values are shown, they reflect the way we live our lives. So the people we love and respect who are close to us, can we tell them that these are our values? Okay. Then the next question, do these values represent things you would support, even if that choice is not the popular choice? Do they represent things you will support, even if it's not the popular choice? Then the next question that I would love you to write down and answer is, for each of those values, I know this is a lot of work, right? And I do this in a coaching program that I run. I take people through this process of defining their values and see how it aligns with who they are and how they live their lives. So this next question, this final question, is very important. I'd love you to take note of it. For each of those values, give an example of what it looks like in everyday life for you. For each of those values, give an example of what it looks like in everyday life for you. So how do those values show up for you every single day? Because when we get clarity on our values, we get clarity on who we are. We get clarity on our vision also. And on our passion, especially our passion. Because passion is what I am willing to suffer for. What is that thing that, okay, I will do, whether it's convenient or inconvenient, whether I'm the only one doing it or not. So what spurs me up from the inside? What gives me energy? Okay, do we have all the questions?
No, I missed a part. I didn't get a particular part. When you said, does these values, I missed it there.
Okay, maybe do the values represent things you will support?
Okay,
Even if
yes.
you're the only one
Okay.
making that choice, even if it's
Okay.
not a popular choice.
Okay.
So even if you're the only one taking that road, yes, that's enough. Yeah.
Okay.
And the
Thank you.
final question, how do they show up for you in everyday life?
Okay.
Yeah. So you can answer these questions for your top 10 values, especially. Okay. Now,
Thank you.
I'd like to give you additional questions. So this is coaching, all right? So this is coaching, and I'm giving you the questions. You will self-coach yourself through these questions. And if you want guidance, if you want me to walk you through some of these questions, then you can contact me later. I'll send an email with my calendar. You can book as long as you're in this session. Okay, I'm willing to give you 30 minutes of my time. So I will send you my calendar, to book a 30-minute session with me so we can talk more on this. We can really help you get down on what is important to you. How does that sound?
Awesome. Great. Looking forward to that.
So great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that's my gift to you for really sticking it out no matter what. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So now, if you're still struggling,
Thank you.
yeah, with defining your personal values, I just have some additional questions. Really, these questions, some of them sound like they are the same, they're repeated, but that's what we do in coaching. Sometimes we ask one question in different ways, so that you can get a better understanding. It's not really for the coach, but for you. Okay, so these 3 questions, I'd love you to take these ones down. How do I respond to hardship or good fortune? How do I respond to hardship or good fortune? Who are my closest friends? Because your friends tell you who you are, really. Jim Rohn says we are the average of the 5 people we hang around with. Okay, so who are your closest friends and how do I treat others around me? So you will know if you're truly aligning with your values. If you answer these 3 questions, so important. How do I respond to hardship or good fortune? Who are my closest friends? How do I treat others around me? Now, when it comes to applying our values, making values-based choices it's not always easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things to do because most often you will stand alone. Because most often people don't share your values, 1. And 2, even if they share your values, their interpretation of it, the way they live it out in their lives may be different from the way you express it. So because we are different, our expression of our values may also be different. Okay, so when it comes to living your values, it's not always easy. Making that choice is not easy, but making that choice is right gives you more benefits in the long run. So most often when you make the choice and then you look back, you feel good about yourself. Kate, I'm happy I made that choice. I don't know if you've ever encountered a situation. Well, for me, because trustworthy is one of my values. I value truth. Okay. So if I encounter a situation that maybe I could have lied, right? And then it was so hard that I could have just lied to save myself. But I tell the truth. In spite of the shame, the looks that people will give me, I tell the truth. I may not feel good about it then, because of maybe the reactions of those around me, thinking, okay, what would they think of me now and all that. But in retrospect, when I look at it, I'll feel so good about myself. So that's how it shows up. When you've made that choice, it's not easy, but when you look at it in retrospect, it always makes you feel better, proud of yourself, fulfilled. So let's talk about a few tips for incorporating these values to our lives. The first is use your values when you're setting your goals. When creating your goals, most often we set goals based on what we feel good about, what we want, what we see. Because our goals they come out of our vision. Okay, this is what you see. This is where you see yourself going. So you set goals based on that. You're looking at the big picture when you set your goals. Now, consider the current goals that you're working towards and look at it very well. These goals that I have, do they align with my values, with who I am? Are they going to cause me to compromise my values in any way? If you define your values properly and you are aware of them, it shouldn't be a problem. Whenever you set a goal, it will be in alignment with your values. Yeah. So I want you to consider, are you living according to your values in your life as a whole? Are you living according to your values? Not just one values, not just one value, two values, three values, but the things that are really important to you. Look at the career choices that you've made in the past, that you've made. If the business you're currently doing, does it reflect your values? How about your personal life, your activities outside of work? Do they reflect who you are, your values? Do they reflect it? Are you spending time on the things that matter to you? So there was a time in my life, family is very important. That's one of my values, family. And there was a time in my life when I started my business, I was spending so much time, you know, on the business, in the business, trying to figure things out. And because of that, I used to miss appointments with my kids when they have important things in school. I will miss it or get there very late or towards the end. And sometimes it will be other parents that will take pictures of my kids, or videos of them and send it to me. That was a time I used to feel so terrible, so terrible. And because of that, I made some shifts. And I made sure that, okay, whatever I am doing aligns with my family. They know where I am, they know what I am doing. I share it with them. And they also help me by keeping me accountable. Then, of course, I've included in my calendar, my schedule, family time. So I don't get to miss time with my kids or miss time, at their school, important events with them. No. And that is making me fulfilled and happy. Looking back, I see that it's really a good choice. Yes, I've missed some things because I had to be with family, but that's okay. Okay. So by ensuring that your values can be used to answer all these questions, okay, are you living according to your values in your life as a whole? Does your career choice reflect or business choice reflect your values? How about your activities outside of work, outside of your business? Do they reflect your values? Then are you spending time on the things that really matter to you? If you've answered these questions correctly, achieving your goals will be more fulfilling and meaningful. Yes, I would love to really underline the more fulfilling and meaningful, because when our goals are not in alignment with our values, when we achieve those goals, we're not happy. Because you find out that you would have sacrificed a lot of things that were important to you in getting to your goals. So it's so important that those goals align with your values. So we'll set our goals it will be more intentional in setting our goals, and also the decisions, make decisions according to your values. So important. Long-term goals, they will always help you to get to where you want to be in life. However, living your values is about the everyday small day-to-day decisions that you make. Okay, that's what living your values are. Because when you think long-term goals, yes, you want to get to in 5 years time, 10 years time, that's important. That's your goal. This is what you want to do. It's well defined. But your values, they are decisions you make, choices you make daily. Small choices, not big. Small choices that you make every single day. In the moment do you reflect? I want you to reflect on this. Do you react to situations in ways that align with your values? Because that's your reactions, your attitude. Does it reflect your values? Yes, sometimes, no, all the time. Okay. So Yes, I understand that it's not always easy to make your actions align with your values. Some situations really test you, bring out the worst in you, and you want to just, okay, no, let me just let go,
Yes. When something has tried your patience so much.
Oh my God. You feel like, oh my God.
Kate, please, I just share something, about, our values.
Okay, please.
Like when I was saying that I'm a very peaceful person, I don't like quarrels and all of that.
Okay.
But somebody did something to me that, when it's obvious that this person is just stepping on your toe and just finding you, as in, because the person knows you're calm.
Yeah.
So, and I just wanted to prove a point to the person, for the person to understand that what she's doing is not right.
Okay.
So the normal me wouldn't have screamed, but I screamed. But after that, we understand each other, and we, everybody knows to respect himself and know where to draw her lines. Yes.
Right. So that's so great. Yeah, for me personally, and this happened most of the time in retrospect, because when I've encountered a situation where I let go and I feel so bad that, oh my God, I just wasn't myself. And I looked for a way for that thing not to repeat itself. And most of the time I find maybe a quote, a scripture, or something, a mantra that I can repeat to myself just to remind myself that this shouldn't happen again. Let me give you an example. This thing about testing your patience, quarreling, right? Especially quarreling. I don't like quarreling either. So 2 weeks ago, yes, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So I had an exchange. It was really an argument with one of the workers, the cleaners in my estate. It was so hard to get this guy to understand my viewpoint. Something so basic, everybody could get it, but he couldn't. So at a certain point, I had to raise my voice. I showed him examples, but he just wasn't getting it. And we finally concluded, so being, probably out of respect and all that, he conceded. But that exchange took about 10 minutes, and it drained me. At the end of the day, I remember the quote that I don't even remember, I don't recall where I saw that quote, but it goes like this: never wrestle with a pig. You only get yourself covered in mud, and the pig likes it. Okay, so that helped me. Yeah, it's not like I'm calling people pigs, no, but it puts things in perspective for me that, okay, if someone likes to quarrel, it's part of them. They don't see anything wrong with it. I'm not going to indulge them because they like it. So it's not me, it's them. So I'm going to just withdraw. So when I see a quarrel coming and I notice that, oh, no, this person is something they like to do, I'm not going to allow it. I'll just withdraw. I'll step away. I'll just take a step back. Okay, so that's what I do. So some people make a habit of reading their values every morning when they wake up. Some people visualize their day ahead and plan out how they're going to live by their values that day. Okay, it's just to create an intention. Today, I am going to live by my values, and it's their intention for the day. Some, they print out their values and keep it close to them, maybe on their desk, on the walls, on their notice board. Not just like companies do, right? You walk into a company and you see their values, in a frame on the wall. So that helps them to remember their values. So once you walk into the company and you see those values on the wall, you know who they are, what they stand for. So some people do that personally. They literally frame their values and put it where they can easily see it. So what works for you, whatever works for you, you can do it. Some people, they use it as their background, their background image on their phones or their computers. Some will set up reminders on their phone to be popping up every single time, maybe at intervals, okay, to remind them about their values. But whatever feels good to you, do it. The important thing is to be conscious of these values, to keep them close to you, to put them in a place where you can see them, constantly. You can be reminded of them because, sometimes we don't, like I said, let's list out our top 10 values. It's not like you don't know the values, you know them, but most often because you don't have it clearly spelled out, printed, and, framed or somewhere that you can quickly pull out, it's hard for you to start writing number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So doing this exercise and, putting your values where you can see them is very, very important. So that helps us every day as we live our values. So I want to hear from you right now. What do you do? What's your best practice? What do you do when it comes to living your values every day, reminding yourself of your values? What's your own practice? Yes?
I think I'll go first. I think I've kind of understood what my values are. I think for me, the greatest priority is family, and then integrity, truthfulness, then working with people. I also enjoy working with people. And I've also been able to identify some negatives and positives. I see that let me not use help. I can help someone else navigate or help someone else see an alternative route or path, certain thing.
Yeah.
I realized that. But I'm not able, so the negative part is that, but I'm not necessarily able to do that for my own life and true, right? And follow through. But I also realized that if I'm accountable to someone or something, I don't be shamed. I want to live up to that expectation. I want to live up to that kind of quote and unquote terms of agreement or association. If I'm accountable to something or for something, or like I have an assignment to do, I want to give it like 101%. Do you understand? I don't want to
do accountability will be one of your values.
Yes, I don't want to do shabby work. I don't want to do shabby work or half done work. No, I'm not that kind of a person. So, but then when you also talked about like you said that one of my values is family, and I said I really dig it. So I'm trying to use that framework, that frame mind also to see if I can kind of really apply that into my goal achievement as well. I have a goal and I'm struggling. I'm struggling to get the commitment and to achieve that goal by the time that I've set out, because sometimes I'm just like, I don't even care. I know what is your why and all of that. I'm like, I can't. I just want to lay in bed and just daydream and daydream.
Okay, so really, it's all right. So that's how it is. So intentionality takes time. It takes time. It takes energy. But what I have found is when we look at our goals, like those goals you have listed, when you look at them, you find out that they come in some particular order. There's an order of priority. Okay, some are more important to you than others. And it also takes really thinking and living and finding out how this goes, how this value is expressed every day, how you express it every day, or most often. Because there are some days when some values will not show up for you, but your topmost values will show up every single day. And sometimes some values only show up when situations arise. You won't even know that you have that in you until the situation comes and you're faced with a choice. That's when you know that, oh, I didn't know this thing was there. But for me, what I would suggest is look at the values, write them out, and put them somewhere where you can see them. Then it's very important to also, go through the question, especially finding out why those values are important. Why is it important to you? How do you express them every single day? So, or most often. So that's going to really help. For me, I find it important to put it right now. I'm even looking at my wall. I don't have my values on my wall. So that's an assignment for me as well, to frame them and put them on my wall. Right, but
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Okay, so now let's do a quick review. What have we covered today? So we've defined what values are, and then we've seen the difference between a value and a moral standard. And also we've seen, okay, how do we define our values? How do we define our values? And there are some questions, really important questions that I would love you to go through those questions, answer the questions. And of course, your time with me, 30 minutes of one-on-one to go deeper into this, to talk more about this. I will send you my calendar to book a session with me so we can talk more about this. Do you have any questions or something that you want me to answer, or maybe a contribution? I'd love to hear.
Okay. I just wanted to just like reaffirming what you said, about values. That defining your values, the truth is that when you define your values, they are who you are.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from anything. And I love you now making me to understand the difference between values and morals. Before now, I used to have a bit confused about the two, because most times people interchange the two of them.
Yeah.
But with what you said tonight, that values are within, that is who you are. Morals are the things that you're taught, maybe by your family, the environment, and your culture, or where you find yourself. But values are the true definitions of who you are, because it molds your personality, it molds the way you respond to situations and things around you. It tells so much about you when people get to interact with you. And it also contributes to the everyday decisions that you make.
Great.
Just like the story you shared with us about the guy in the movie. It's a definition of who he is.
Yeah.
So for me tonight, I thank God I was able to attend this class, because it just reaffirms some of the things that I know. And also I've also learned new things, and also looking forward to the 30-minute session with you.
Awesome. Right. Oh, great. Thank you so much, Angel. That's a wonderful recap. Wonderful recap. So I want you to, all of us here, I would love you to do one thing for me. This with what you have learned, just share with someone a little bit of what you have learned so they can reaffirm their values and also, go through this. Yeah, but I'm going to send the recording to all of us and we can share it with people that we think should hear about this also. Okay. All right, great. So yeah, that's the question time. We've done that. So I'm going to send us a list of values, over 100 values on that list, So sometimes we know these things, we can think about them, we know it in our heads, and we know how we express and live them, but we don't know which one word or two words or three words to define them, to really stick close next to them. Okay, so that list is just going to help you to, put a word beside that value, the way you express it, or a phrase, and that's one thing. Your value must not be one word.
Yeah.
So I want us to be clear on that, because sometimes we're looking for just that one word that defines that value. No, sometimes it could be two words, three words, it could be a sentence.
Mm.
So let's not be tied to finding one particular word to define that value. You can write it as a sentence and put it on your wall or paste it somewhere, frame it. Okay, so I will send us that list for us to, look through and see where we can fit in, some of those things. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for being in the session. I look forward to, chatting with you.